it.
Microphone.
Check.
Microphone.
Hey, Alex, can you do a check?
Check.
We're gonna do incest tonight, right?
Make sure you
We're gonna do incest tonight. I'd like to be like this close. Can I be this close? You've never had a LaCroix?
I know what they
How's
taste
that possible?
like, bro. Because I know what they taste like, and I don't want any
What do they
part
taste
of
like?
that.
Yeah, what are they?
They taste like all those fucking like Perrier and seltzer waters where it's
No.
like, let me put like a
No,
I rubbed a little lemon on my tongue, and then I stuck my fingers
You don't know
in some
shit about
seltzer
that
water.
pamplemousse essence, dude.
Pamplemousse.
Do you know what it's like to drink? Picture sunscreen and a crayon fucked. That's what coconut tastes like, bro. And it's magic. Magic.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go. This is a meeting place for misfits, ne'er-do-wells, nonconformists, the oppressed, and the marginalized. It's refuge for refuge, a squared circle for square pegs, a ringside seat for the doomed generation to cheer on the death of the American dream. We believe, as we circle the drain, the best course of action is to enjoy the ride. Abandon all hope and embrace the surrender. Welcome to the LaCroix Underground.
With Alex, Mason, and me, Jeff, and our special guest, Zach.
Cool. Well, welcome on board.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this, guys.
How was your week, Alex?
My week.
Yeah, let's run it down.
I had to put my dog down.
You did have to put your dog down.
It's well, not my dog really. I actually hated it, and I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. I hate this dog. Her name was Cookie. She was a Chihuahua mix and about the size of a Chihuahua. She had one eye, and everyone here has met her. She's awful, and she was my wife's dog. And about a month ago, she started limping because she had a tumor on her paw. And I took her to the, my wife took her to the vet. And I told her, because this dog was old as shit anyway. And I was like, well, it's about $250 to put her down. So if the bill for this tumor removal is more than that, just put her down. And so my wife takes her and hides the bill for me. It turns out it was about $500.
Yikes.
2 weeks later, we come home and there's a fat dookie shit in the middle of the bathroom floor. And Cookie has a history of incontinence with like her pee-pee, but not with her dookie. And we're like, that's weird. And then we watched her walk head first into a wall. And we're like, oh, well, that's weird. And I'm like snapping in her ears and like pretending like I'm swatting her face, and she doesn't move. The dog very quickly became completely blind and deaf. Oh, so I was like, if it was one and the other, like I'd say, yeah, a blind dog, fine. A deaf dog, fine. You see them on the internet, it's all good. But both, like we have stairs in our house. Like, you need to go down the stairs because we live on a hill. You need to go down the stairs to go outside to do your business. And she was also, really distressed. So I was like, we need to put her down. And my wife wanted to hire one of these in-person vets that comes to your house and puts your dog down, and it's another $500.
Dog hospice.
Sure. And it's a guy I've used before on my old dog, and he's from South Africa, real sweet guy. And it was a nice experience, as best an experience as it could be. But before we called him, my wife looks at me, and I don't know, we can talk about this later too, but I've been getting really into hunting and shooting. And so she's like, can you put Cookie down? And I was like, yeah, I can. I'm going on a hunting trip in a couple weeks here. I'll take her up, put some raw hamburger on the ground.
Going to combine two American literature greats together with Helen Keller and Old Yeller in the same trip.
And I was like, I'll put some hamburger on the ground and pet her and then pop, end it. And Hannah was like, she's like, no, I want to hold her while you do it. And I was like, you want to hold her while I shoot her in the head?
With a shotgun?
Well, hold on. And she's like, yeah, can't you do it in the backyard? And I was like, no. And she's like, because we have a 22 rifle and we have these subsonic shots for when we go squirrel hunting. And it sounds like a snap. Like it doesn't sound. She's like, well, can you use the 22? And this dog's small. But for those that don't know, the 22 is just about the smallest caliber that you will ever see in a gun. And I was like, she's like, will it kill her? I was like, well, yeah. It might take a couple days. But, like, you want me to shoot Cookie in the head with a 22? Like, and then she's like, well, why don't you use the rifle? Or, sorry, the shotgun. And I was like, you want to hold Cookie? Well, I take this little chihuahua, pea-brain chihuahua, put a 12-gauge shotgun to the back of her walnut-sized head.
I'm not sure whether or not your wife is a total redneck or if she's a psychopath.
I swear she told me, officer. She told me, no, just hold the dog and then shoot it with the shotgun. That's what she told me. I'm sorry.
I told her it's going to be like a bloody mist, like coating the entire backyard. It's like we could dig the hole first, put Cookie in it, and then I'll shoot her with the shotgun. But fucking, I'm not going to.
Jesus, to the gulag. Good Lord.
So anyway, the vet came and put her down, and then I dug a hole underneath our garden and put her in there, and then covered it in dirt. And Hannah, like, her number one concern was this isn't funny at all, but she's like, are you sure she's dead? Are you sure she's dead? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, not totally sure when we buried her, but she's been buried for like 10 minutes. I'm sure she's dead.
How deep did you dig? You dug.
Anyway.
That was good.
Well,
That was good.
That was a good story.
I have maybe a conceit for the show, a premise even. You guys have a list up here on our rundown board.
Yep.
I have no idea what's going on in the world.
You don't. You walked in blind tonight.
So you wrote down France.
Protests.
Frenchies.
Yeah, so you said protests.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
Yellow vest.
So maybe the conceit of the show is you guys explain to me what the fuck's happened.
That's yeah. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. This is actually this is gonna work out.
Stuff that I should probably know, so I don't look like an asshole in front
Zach,
of people.
come
at
out from
parties.
under your rock.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break for a second.
Fuck off.
Okay, back from the break. Yeah, we've been doing a podcast for a few weeks. We've been recording some stuff. So we're going to actually do an official release after this podcast. We're going to cut it up. We're going to add some music. We're going to put it out. So it's kind of like the first official one. And we thought, why not bring along our partner in crime, who's been out of the news week for the, out of the news cycle for the last couple weeks studying. And we're going to basically break down the week of,
Bullshit.
the last few weeks.
Yeah, fuckery. So the first thing we were talking about these
What is
protests
going on
in
France?
Yellow vest protests started over like a gas tax.
Gas tax.
Some like myself would argue kind of like a regressive
A
tax.
mandate. It's a mandate
Yeah.
regressive. So it's not like something in California where we voted for it.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're gonna put on top of, I think it's like generally like $7 and change per
They pay
gallon.
they pay about $6-7
Like
a gallon of
sales at
gas.
the pump.
Yeah.
Tax?
Yeah.
On gas that's already been inflated. Like the price of gas has been skyrocketing.
And it's kind of done under the guise of like the Paris Climate Accords, or that's at least
Right.
what some people will describe it as. It's
Right.
like, that you're going to have to feel it's like a taxation against.
There's
Our
a word for
president
it.
being one of them,
Yeah.
who says it's because of the Paris Agreement.
There's a word for it. It smells like austerity.
That's why I didn't sign it, folks.
Yeah.
It's raise the tax
Yeah.
and cut the spending.
Exactly.
And especially when you raise the tax on the individual, like that's going to make any bit of a difference where you could go ahead and tax the actual company doing the majority of the pollution.
I mean, ecologically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's-
also like refusing to reinstate a wealth tax.
So let me jump in here. Knowing what I know about France, which is a little bit, these have got to be like middle class riots, then, right?
So left and
yeah.
right.
So that's
but like
the thing.
middle class.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the poor people in the slums of like Paris and stuff like that, they don't have cars. They don't give a fuck. So this is like,
These are moms,
Yeah.
dads, workers, union leaders, teachers.
And these are thousands. I think it was
left
like
and right.
left and right.
106,000 people were on the street.
It's left and right. That's what makes it particularly unique.
And Macron backed off. So he backed off the gas tax. Like, oh shit, everybody's fucking burning the place down. They,
That's how it ends. Right?
well, it hasn't ended because
Well,
they said,
It's been
no,
going 3
we got
weeks
together
now. Yeah.
and they were like, this started based on a gas tax. And we've realized, like, when we came together that we have a whole lot more in common than we thought. And we want X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, the catalyst doesn't necessarily have to define like the reason.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is not a gas tax. This is about a Macron. Macron's rating right now
Exactly.
is around 21 to 23%. That's Bush's rating at the 2008 crash and after Iraq was 28.
Well, what we haven't mentioned is the united left and right of France calling for him to step down.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of their stated goals. And
Whose music is that? Who's in the wings? Is that Le Pen?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Right.
it's
Oh, and that's the thing is that like you were saying it's triggering liberals, but it's also like all those Le Pen guys. It's like because it's a tax. It's a
yeah,
gas
there's
tax.
a bit of a narrative too that we got to be careful not to play in like American media narrative that this is like this is what happens when you increase taxes. It's
Yeah.
like the Fox like
sure.
soundbite. Like this is a Republican protest, but then violence started happening, and they're like, "This is terrible."
yeah, and
Bad apples.
majority of people in the Western, developed world see little to no violence at all in their life. So when violence happens here, we have a different type of reaction to it.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I bet, so they had similar riots in Haiti, like 2 months ago? Same thing. It was like 100% gas and tax. It was something insane. I have a friend who lives there. And he's like, dude, they're just like piling stuff in the intersections and lighting it on fire. And it's a former colony, right? France. You know, the French were just like staring down their noses at those savages in Haiti rioting over gas taxes.
Right.
And it's $7 a gallon. We'd kill people here. If it was $7 a gallon, I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I would be in the streets burning fucking.
Well,
stuff.
and these are people that are, they are people that are driving. They're commuting. It's just we see it time and time again, of the socializing the losses and privatizing the gains.
Well, I've read that, and that's something we need to get into. But what I've read is that the cost of living in most of France is comparable to California and New York. So we have skyrocketing real estate that they've been dialing back, like the public transportation, for the last many years through budget cuts and whatnot. And now they're sticking the common man who needs some way to get to work with the tax, rather than going after the companies that, under the guise of like ecological progress, right? Rather than going through attacking the companies that are polluting, exactly as Mason said, they are taxing the people. They are socializing
The losses.
and privatizing the gains, which, I mean,
It's a great business plan, though.
It's a theme that we
Yeah.
see in this country
Right.
far too often.
Right. Neoliberal austerity measures.
Yeah, the rich love socialism. They just don't call it socialism, right? They love getting tax breaks. They love getting what the fuck's it called?
Corporate welfare.
Corporate welfare. But what's their term for it?
Subsidies.
Subsidies. Thank
Subsidies.
you.
Growth
They're all about
stimulators.
socialism.
Yeah. Well, it speaks to in this underpinning of insecurity that we have here, where land of the free, home of the brave, right? But France, the French government is afraid of the French people, and that's the difference. This
Fucking A.
country, we're afraid of our government. That's where the Second Amendment shit comes from. We're afraid of everything. We're afraid of caravans. I mean, so when we see this type of thing going on in the streets and we see this type of violence and, private property, things getting burnt and set on fire, that triggers people here. Just like they think, there's 30-40% of this country that thinks that they have a chance to make over $250,000 a year.
Well, and it plays into this civility at all costs. Civility over rights. Civility over ending poverty. Civility reigns supreme, right? And it's like been ingrained in our culture that like you can have your disagreements and your fucking bourgeois fucking slave masters might be exploiting you as much as possible. But talk about it in a civil way.
So, I mean, these are active riots. Are they going on now?
I believe so. Now I know
They've been
that
going on every weekend.
Yeah.
Should I be calling
they only
them
go on the
riots?
weekends.
Oh yeah.
The protests.
They're burning shit and smashing windows.
And I think that's the deal is that, like, I think that's the only form of protest that ever gets noticed anymore. I don't think, like, getting together and being like, we're mad about this does anything. I think burning Starbucks, fucking, you get on TV.
Oh, the fucking media loved that women's march.
Yeah, they loved it, but what did it do?
Mobilize people.
So what do you mean gets attention from who?
From
whom?
From the media, right? So if you can't organize the largest march in human history, right? Props to the Women's March. I was all down for it. I think that what happens is when you have a protest that large and that ubiquitous, like, you kind of lose the message and nothing really comes of it. But like when those crazy Antifa kids like burn down a Starbucks in Berkeley, like the fucking, the crazy conservative speaker doesn't get to speak. So like that there is action that works there, and they get on TV, and it only takes 10 or 15 of them, and it doesn't take a bunch.
Calling those actions Antifa, it plays into a weird American media narrative too, as if like, I mean, it could have been.
Yeah.
Right. There is an organized group loosely organized group called Antifa, but it's also what
Members
the right
claiming
calls
to be, or
anyone who riots, anyone who smashes private property is automatically Antifa.
Well, that's why it's so hard to wrangle in these protests, because there's no leader.
Yeah.
There's no one that's speaking for this group. I mean, these are actual people that are coming out into the streets over, basically the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
People are fucking.
They have a branding issue.
Who, French?
No,
Yeah.
Antifa.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, they really got to work on their branding, the French.
The baguette only gets you so far.
Why did they abbreviate that? It's like
Because
now,
that's what it was.
but like now like on the right they can like hide behind it. They can be like
Yeah.
they can be Antifa.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's a little bit different when you're saying I'm anti-fascist.
Exactly.
You
Well,
know?
and just the idea that like they're not a positive, like not positive or negative, but like a positive action group. Like they don't have rallies.
Give me their number. Let me call Antifa.
Yeah.
I'll tell them what they're doing wrong.
They don't have like rallies. Like, the fucking right groups have rallies, and they have Antifa comes in reaction to fascism. It's pretty like
This is
cause
just
and effect.
This is just what we tell you, Jeff. I get the monthly newsletter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He knows the secret handshake.
I pay my dues.
It is a badass flag, though.
I don't know it. What does it look like?
It's just the anarchist black and red.
Oh, cool. All right, moving on down the line.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Haha.
It's a big river.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Check out The Man in the High Castle, Amazon Prime. Right? No, we're not doing spots. It's not spots.
Me undies.
Amazon owns everything.
Somewhere, off in a distant, dark, authoritarian hellscape, Franco, Mussolini, and Hitler are attending a circle jerk in commemoration of the newly approved Amazon headquarters deal in Virginia and New York. When is it the proper time to ask whether or not the state is getting too close to corporations? Bearing witness to this salient Orwellian nightmare of state after state swooning all over themselves in an attempt to appease a private company is something you just cannot unsee. Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, said he would change his name to Amazon Cuomo if they opened a headquarters in New York. Some of the states even went as far with their corporate offerings as to provide and redistribute all Amazon employee state taxes to the company directly rather than their particular state. Reports from Amazon's recently opened Staten Island fulfillment center are unreal. One person is quoted as saying that Amazon has power hours where employees are hurried during their sometimes 12-hour shift and incentivized with raffle tickets. Amazon paid literally $0 in federal taxes last year. Bezos is currently the richest person on the planet who has mastered the art of the pass-through tax to enable him to live off of the commodification of low-paid workers while he licks clean the trough of our corporate welfare taxation system, simultaneously exploiting the vacuous American consumerism that we currently have today. On top of that, taxpayers in New York are giving Bezos over $1 billion in tax incentives, a $325 million cash grant, and a helipad. So on his way to his listless shareholder meetings, he could look down upon all the feudal peasants he lords over that frantically drive from house to house on the roads and infrastructure that we pay to maintain. Why Virginia? Well, if the 2013 $600 million cloud contract the CIA has paid Amazon to allow them to act as the digital peeping Tom to all of your data wasn't enough, a headquarters in Virginia allows for Amazon to directly make backdoor espionage deals with the Pentagon. It is analogous to you willingly leaving the back door of your house unlocked so the criminals can come in, ransack your valuables, sell them for cash, and give you your cut when it's all said and done. Except the you in this story isn't you. It's our government. And the thief is the richest man in the world. You are the insurance company paying off the losses. You are not the person in this story who makes off with any monetary gain. You are just left holding the bag while our elected officials ostensibly cuck you at behest of the owner class in a way that would make even Henry VIII incredulous. This is by definition fascism in its truest form, the merging of state and corporate powers. This is the single most clear-cut example of fascism to take place in America ever. Child prisons, economic tinkering, imperialism, and an overinflated military are symptoms of fascism, but they simply do not fully define the term on their own. This is getting very little to no coverage in our vapid corporate media news cycle, but that's what we're here for. Welcome to the LaCroix Underground. So, Amazon Cuomo, he said that, Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, said he would change his name to Amazon Cuomo if Amazon would consider opening up one of their two headquarters in New York.
Yep. Well, that's
What a fucking whore. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, no, that's not even the worst of it.
Fucking thirsty as fuck.
well. I mean, let's.
I want that Amazon money.
Let's talk about Amazon.
Call me what
I mean, I
call me
think
what you want.
Most
Call
of our
me.
listeners understand what Amazon is, but we can also talk about Bezos. I hear both Bezos and Bezos.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Bezos.
Beelzebubos.
Yeah,
In line to be the first trillionaire. If everything remains
he is
according to plan.
He is the richest person on the planet.
on the
right?
planet.
Okay, so in what sense does that mean as far as like actual money or just property or owning?
I'm assuming it's starting assets.
Right, his own assets.
Amazon, of course, Amazon Prime, as you joked about.
Trillionaire.
With that, he's not quite a trillionaire yet,
Fucking trillionaire.
but also putting mom and pop shops out of business for the last 15 years, right?
Right.
Started as a bookstore,
Right.
online bookstore, but also a little lesser known thing about Amazon, and I'm going to sound really ignorant right now because I'm not a tech guy,
Okay.
but I know that the internet runs on the backbone of Amazon. Amazon is the backbone of the internet. They have more. Do you got any?
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't. If you sit there and you say, "Well, how can I pay, for a $10 book on Amazon when that book is, $13 at Barnes and Noble, and they're sending a guy here and they have trucks and vans and employees? Like, how do they make any money doing that? They don't make any money doing that,
Right.
Amazon makes a little to no money.
Amazon runs in the red, yeah.
Yes.
And most of their money is through data processing
Right.
in their servers.
Absolutely.
So they are, if like, we couldn't end Amazon and still have the internet as we know. If we flipped the switch and Amazon was gone, our internet would be fucked.
Yeah.
Right. So that you have to ask, is the state and the corporation, are they too close?
Too close.
They're too close to one another.
You're talking to I think that we need to seize
right,
it.
of course.
I
Capital
think-
C.
I think the state needs the. Well, I'm not into state seizure of everything, but I think the state needs to seize things that God, I'm
Couldn't you publicly
drawing a blank
utility?
tonight.
Like, couldn't you
I
draw
thought
like a
public
utility?
utilities should all be owned by the state, and I think the net should fall under public utility and should be seized by the net by the state.
I thought Trump was all pissy about the failing Washington Post.
Oh yeah, because it's owned by Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I
not.
mean,
He has
how
money in
close
other
are they?
publications too. It's not just Washington Post. But I think the most concerning thing is, we already know he has $1 million deals with the CIA. That's already happened.
Oh, and that touches
That's
upon
happened.
that touches upon.
why Virginia, you ask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, right.
I was gonna say that touches upon what happened today, but
Okay, well, what's in Virginia? The Pentagon's in Virginia,
Correct.
right? So that's that window. I mean, yeah, you kind of look at he paid 0 taxes in
Yeah.
2017, federal taxes.
Bezos or Amazon?
Well,
I think
I think he
both.
uses the pass-through tax, so I think he can kind of skirt that. That's how he skirts it.
Right. And there's something. Go ahead.
He's basically like, that's Amazon, and I'm Jeff Bezos, but like it's my company, and we're kind of the same thing. So you're really only going to tax one of us. So Amazon will take it on, but I don't think he actually paid any taxes, or vice versa. I should clear that up. But yeah, they. So the New York deal. There's 3 things about the New York deal. Is
Well,
he
first,
gets over $1 billion in tax incentives.
we kind of touched on this, but just to catch everyone up, they announced maybe a year and a half ago that they were looking for a second headquarters.
First headquarters being in.
God only knows. I don't know.
You don't know.
You know? No. It's a good question.
That's a great question.
Thanks. You're not invited back next week.
Smart ass.
Yeah, but
Washington? Would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or-
wanted to say Seattle area, but
Yeah. So anyway, they announced that they were looking for a second headquarter
Seattle, Washington.
and something else too, right? They're looking for.
well, they opened 2 more headquarters. That's
Okay.
what's confusing. So they opened one in Northern Virginia.
That's right. They're looking for 2.
Is that
and they opened-
HQ3?
Yeah.
And basically, Bezos like pulled out his fat dong, like looked at America and said, "Who wants to lick it?" Right?
I don't even think
who's gonna lick it best is what he's saying. He's like, "I know you all want to lick it. Who's gonna give me a little?"
Hey, we
like,
were on there.
You just
We-
don't wanna
Long
be-
Beach
you
is
just don't wanna be
trying
last.
hard, fool. Long
Don't
Beach
think
is
you had
trying
to try
hard.
that hard. I
Who's
mean,
gonna rusty trombone me?
Everyone's going to lick it. You just don't want to be last.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the idea though, is that he pulled out his dick and the cities and states lined up a mile long to be like me.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't have it in front of me of what state.
That's
There
gotta,
were a
that's
couple
got to feel
states
good, right?
that were going to make a deal with him that all their employees in that state would pass their state taxes directly back to the company.
what state? There was a state that offered to name a city after Amazon.
Kentucky?
I mean, yeah, it was something else to see the states falling
That
all
sounds
over
very,
each other.
very Kentucky.
Long Beach put a bit in. They
Yeah,
were,
I was gonna
"Bring
say,
it
Long
on
Beach for
down,
sure."
Mr. Mayor Garcia he was like, I'm in that line.
He would have
No.
liked licking it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
Long Beach big gay mirror. Hey.
The other thing was
make fun of our
$325 million
gayer.
cash grant of just taxpayer money from New York given straight
Yeah.
to Jeff Bezos.
So this is how New York got it.
This
Yes.
is how New York got it. $325 million, just cash grant right out the door. Here you go.
Here you go.
The good one though, the good one.
Real fast. Just to clear that up for everyone, $325 million to a trillionaire.
Right.
They're like, yeah,
Chump change.
yeah. No,
Right.
but it's like the person who needs that money least on the planet.
Right.
I mean, I guess I am conflating him with his company, but
Yeah, I
still,
was
the
gonna say
company.
you just said the company
the
was in the
company's
red. So.
also it's got to be
huge, but
the
it needs-
largest
yeah.
company, one of the largest companies, if not the largest company in the United States.
Right. Well, they're buying.
There's $325
yeah, I mean, they're
million.
buying other
Well-
companies left and right.
I don't agree with it at all, but I also see that like that money would be made back in tax revenue. Like it's not, it's an investment. It's like saying like state and local municipalities shouldn't buy land. Like that's half the way that like government gets funded in this state is that like they bought they had property when it was nothing, and because now properties are like fucking like asset games, like the state can sell off properties every once in a while. It's like that old Long Beach Eastern Police Division right next to the fucking donut shop, that Krispy Kreme on Los Coyotes. They still own that thing has been vacant for 10 years. They still own the property. They could have sold it 10 years ago, but they haven't because they know it's going to be worth 20 times more. It just appreciates like crazy. So there is, I mean, say like $325 million is a crazy amount of money, and I don't agree with them giving it to a business, but it is them like playing probably one of the safer games in economic, right? Like I give $325 million, Bezos comes here, and then over the next 10 years, we make $500 million in tax revenue. So then we've a net game of 200 and, you know, whatever.
I don't know
175, whatever.
like the real in-depth ins and outs of like this land deal that's gone down between these two.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm going to take a wild guess and say money is just being funneled upwards
Yeah.
for everyone involved.
Oh, like through the construction contracts, through all.
Just funneled upwards.
For sure.
And the point is that also, well, Mason, maybe you can answer. Is there any kind of tax incentive for?
Over $1 billion in tax incentives for New York. But the best thing about New York,
Oh, so New York will gain over $1 billion?
no, they're giving
They're
him
giving
that's
him.
over
Yeah,
$1 billion.
Exactly my
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's not really about we're going to tax Amazon's.
No. And if I haven't changed your
labor
mind,
here.
I'll change it now. A helipad.
Well, of course.
A helipad.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So when he flies, I just
Well, where do you want him to land?
Yeah, guys. Jeez.
I imagine him flying over all of the his wage slaves that he lords over.
Spraying
on his
cum
way.
out the side door of the helicopter. Just seeding the
wants to-
state.
Let the
You're
poor eaters come.
welcome.
He's all yoked now, too.
Everyone out there, please pause this podcast right now and go YouTube Bezos Pizza Hut commercial. Have you guys seen this?
No.
Dude, when he was a struggling actor.
Pause-
Beautiful.
Literally pause the show. I gotta see this.
All right.
I mean, now he eats.
We're gonna watch it.
iguanas. I mean, it's
Well, now he's like just ripped. Like he was a chubby old little actor there.
What are you doing? You taking a break?
He wants to see
Oh, shit.
Pizza Hut, dude.
Oh, we're gonna play it now.
So back to Amazon. Our fucking overlords.
Amazon.
Fucking Amazon. So today, I don't know who broke it. I saw it on the. I'm a member of IWW.
Of course you are.
Yeah. Abolish the wage system. And
Seize control.
Abolish currency.
IWW Seattle put it up on Instagram. That's where I saw it. That Amazon admitted to working with intelligence agencies and releasing
Facial recognition.
facial recognition software
Yeah.
for police departments.
Yeah, and the government. Like, just
And
the
the
government
government.
as a whole. Like, saying that they believe the government should have the best available systems.
It doesn't
possible.
get any more clear than a CIA deal, a Pentagon deal looming, and
Tentacle.
Is this why the banner ad on my phone popped up today selling balaclavas?
Well, and then the ACLU put out an article today too, talking about what happens when you do one of those Amazon. Is it Ring? Is Amazon?
Amazon. They just bought Ring.
So Amazon just bought Ring, and they're partnering with the government for facial recognition software, and how they want to put the facial recognition software in the Ring. That will then
it's there.
cut back, so it's there.
It's there. I went to a friend's house the other night, and I walked up to the door, and he was at the door, and he let me in before I even rang the bell. He's like, "Oh yeah, I was standing in my kitchen, and this little screen that he has in his kitchen says Zach is approaching."
Oh
It's
shit!
the camera in the doorbell. that shit talked. It said Zach is approaching or whatever. It recognized my face.
That's crazy. Too.
That is
told him I was
Orwellian
walking
as
up to the
hell.
door.
That is
You
so
guys
creepy.
ever get really insulted from Facebook? Like, is this you? You ever got one of those? And one time it was a crunched up brown paper grocery bag, and it's is this you? Can we
Do you
tag
want
you?
to tag yourself?
Yeah.
I was like, you fucking dick. But that is
It's what it is. I mean,
I'm the only thing about facial recognition software that I'm excited about is that there's going to become a day where I can take my picture, put it on the internet, and it will scan, 100 billion files or whatever, and then pull up all the pictures of me in the background of other people's pictures, just walking by.
That's scary.
Wouldn't it,
I saw that on Facebook already. I have somebody that I know tangentially in the Long Beach community that's a photographer that took pictures at the Women's March, and this fucker and his wife were in the background of some picture, and I was like, that's Alex.
Yeah, that's me.
So
Yeah.
I was like, your own Amazon facial recognition.
And it's not
be
just Amazon. Yeah, it's Facebook.
It's gonna be like Mason
Amazon.
in Jamaica. Like just standing there with his beard on the beach, but just in the background. It's gonna be so weird, right?
Oh,
But anyway, not worth it.
Yeah,
Not worth this tyrannical tool in our bedders. But
Yeah, I don't think it's
Interesting.
worth it. Yeah, I don't.
interesting nonetheless.
I think that little that creepy little shifty sister of BB-8 that hangs out on your kitchen counter and tells you what the weather is. I think that's a
Alexa.
problem.
Alexa?
Yeah.
I love my Alexa.
Of course you do.
It's full of scared.
I
of the
use
ring.
mine all the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
It's just a listening device in your house, right?
That's a little technocratic
That's not how they work.
elf on the shelf.
Do you think that bothers me? I'm literally sitting in a room with you guys recording every goddamn
That's
thing
true.
we
Well,
say
this goes back to
to be disseminated
Jeff
on a
has
website
this-
owned by
I'm
General
paranoid.
Electric.
Jeff
bro.
has
I
this
can't
inflated
handle it.
sense of self.
Yeah, that's true. too.
Anyone would fucking care to listen to you.
No, it's not about that. It's about backwards compatibility. It's about you fuck up and do something stupid, and then they go back and and then
You know
you
how
did
I get
this,
back at 'em?
this, and this.
For all the very interesting conversations of mine they record, 50 times a day they have to hear my 5-year-old go, "Alexa, play Sandstorm."
But anyway, that's in the function of the machine.
That's so
It's
funny.
it is always listening, but it's
Because
listening.
it has to for something.
It has a 15-second listening
Loop.
that
It's a loop, yeah.
for keywords like Alexa, for instance. And anyone listening to this with their
15
Alexa
seconds?
something like that.
It's
It
supposedly.
could get my entire sex session then.
It's like, damn, we got two.
Anyone listening to this at home right now, I'm sorry, we've just triggered your fucking Alexa 100 times.
Alexa, you
Alexa,
suck.
buy a case of Pamplemousse.
Alexa,
Pamplemousse.
buy that black dildo I've been eyeballing.
Why
It-
do you
it is
eyeball
just,
black
uh,
dildos?
That
hurts.
It's for other people.
Oh, my bad. You were just
Alexa.
looking.
The therapeutic suggestions that I get from Facebook, since I like to make nihilism memes. I get the schizophrenia hotline in my feed.
Take a hint.
I mean, they kind of tell you to get your act together. So
It pisses me off though, it's always boomers, right? Who are always on Facebook being it's listening to you, and that's how you get these ads that are oh, I just talked about this needing a broom last week, and now there's an ad for a broom on my Facebook.
You're welcome, Sharon.
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
people just no. The truth is, you're just not that interesting, and it's easy to fucking predict what you want to buy.
Yeah.
No one's listening to your ass and then curating ads to you. I mean, they're reading your email. Google
they're
is
reading every email.
most definitely reading your emails,
Yeah.
but they admit to it.
Yeah.
There's no grand conspiracy. Facebook is looking at everything that you are clicking on and then combining that information with Google's information and figuring out what the fuck you want to buy. But it's not because it heard you. It's just because none of us are that interesting. We're very predictable in our shopping.
But at
habits.
the same time, okay, unpopular opinion. Like, wouldn't you want the ads for the shit that you want and not ads for shit you don't want? You're gonna see ads either fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to see the shit that you want to see?
Yeah, if I can go my whole life without
I
another
hate it.
fucking
I'm not getting Alexa.
without another fucking maxi pad commercial, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, dude. Mine are all just like T-shirts for Grateful Dead and like matcha.
I got butt plugs and lube galore, dude. That's it.
I did get LaCroix ads right after I opened the Facebook
right.
group.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
awesome.
Yeah, quickly.
I've never seen like I've never seen like a commercial for LaCroix. I wanted to get those like back in like Wisconsin.
It's very Midwest.
Yeah, like
But-
actual television commercials.
Yeah, it's been in the Midwest for like I did a little research
Jesus.
in LaCroix, and yeah, it's been around the Midwest for
It was
like,
marketed to like
over a decade.
Midwest housewives as like a
Yeah.
diet drink.
And then I guess there was I didn't click on the headline, but in my research, I guess there was a Perrier fiasco.
Ooh, scandal.
Maybe
That's
like
it? That's all you got was Perrier?
well, there was a
fiasco?
Perrier fiasco, and LaCroix was there to fill in the market.
Oh, like there was a shortage of
there
Perrier.
was a shortage or like a poisoning. I don't know.
Well, and it was
duties,
cheaper.
Tariffs.
Like a couple years ago, it was cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Like now it's more expensive.
Well, dude, like I said, I work in downtown all the time, and I work with office managers like all over. Like this shit, you need pallets of this shit for the people younger than us.
Why is it
You know-
more expensive though?
Huh?
You know why?
Because people are buying it by the
Well,
pallets.
shouldn't the market say it should be cheaper
Well,
then?
no, because that we don't. Nice.
It's because water without bubbles is for poor people.
I guess, man. I can't drink that stuff. I know what it tastes like.
You gotta pay a little extra to get
That's
that
like-
essence.
dude,
That's your poor palate.
Water without bubble, dude. Poor people don't drink that shit. They drink endless soda pops.
Who takes a bath without a bath bomb? I mean, it's just gross. It's gross. It's gross.
Get a little bit of it.
I have some. Yeah.
When's the part of the podcast where we just sit here and describe the weird shit in Jeff's apartment?
I got some weird shit, bro.
This is very insilly.
It's not incel. Why the fuck? What screams incel? Your paintings?
The little
Your paintings
figurines.
wall?
The figurines.
What? Do I have toys? I like
think
toys.
I
Bro.
think when you hang a portrait of a monkey Mary with a alien Joseph, that's not involuntary.
And a human
celibacy.
baby.
How long?
That's
human
actively
baby.
trying.
Fool, I get.
How long between fucks until you call yourself an incel?
Ooh.
Like what defines an incel?
It means-
2 weeks?
Because every second that I'm not
You're-
having sex
yeah, you're an
is
incel, right?
involuntary. All right. All right.
Oh,
Do you have to
man.
like call
I
your?
li-
Is it
I
defined?
like
is
to
it-
fuck.
You have to call yourself an incel to be an
Yeah,
incel.
I think you have to determine that you're not going. I think there are people that have been in a drought long enough, or have never had.
and they call themselves incels, right?
Yeah, because
But
they
they've embraced it at this point, right?
Yeah,
So
they
it's like
don't
now
think-
it's a thing.
It's like
They're
it's
leaning
when
in.
I'm done. I'm gonna stop trying.
Right.
You're the guy who falls off the unemployment rolls because he stopped picking up his checks and stopped looking for work. Like you just
you
been,
did finger quotes.
finger quotes.
Finger-
This like incel has a little crossover with men's rights.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. It's all very
Jordan Peterson.
Anger.
like what's it called? Red pill.
What is it? It's Chad. They
What'd
have
you call it?
names. For,
Red pill. Isn't that what they call it?
Oh, well, that's how you could use red pill for anything. Yeah, I mean anything
They have
that side of
names
the
like Chad
political
and
spectrum.
something. Chad is the dude.
Yeah.
That's like the big buff,
Stacy or
like,
something?
Yeah, Chad and Stacy, like the chicks that won't fuck them and the dudes that always get whatever they want.
All right, so once again, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this world. I've
Okay,
literally
yeah.
been buried in engineering textbooks, which are unbelievably boring. So
Nerd.
you have Politico article on the rundown,
Yeah.
and I have an assumption that Politico has written 300 articles in the last week.
All
So
of,
why
hot,
are you referring
steamy,
to one?
hot
Because
mess?
it's a pile.
Because I think that this is.
You know it?
Yeah, I wanted to post it on the Facebook, but I was scared that you would just eviscerate me for posting it because it was so like
Did you
I
read it?
thought it was to be the greatest.
Oh, you didn't read it. Okay,
Awesome.
let's play a game.
Okay.
Let's play a game.
I thought you would act like I was trying to actually.
I may have read it by
propose this.
accident.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read it, but it's infuriating.
Or please.
You should sit down.
Point.
Okay, Politico. Yeah. So I'll just read a couple paragraphs out, but I'll give you the headline first.
Please.
Headline: Biden should run on a unity ticket
Good night, guys.
with Romney.
With Mitt Romney.
Holy,
Holy
shit!
I was just like, if I put this on the Facebook,
Yeah, Alex is literally walking out of the
Jeff,
room.
I hate you.
Literally walking out of the room. Okay, let's bring it back. Bring it back. That's just the
That's
headline. The
amazing.
subtitle is, "It could totally work. Here's how."
Geritol 2020.
It's
like-
a political
oh,
article. I'll
right there,
give her
hold on.
credit. I'll give her credit for
A
that.
few months ago on Reddit, I saw someone posted a bumper sticker that had been photoshopped to say Biden Romney.
Yeah. So I could see it. You could see it now, though. You could see this being the total strategy going forward.
Oh no,
It is-
It's
it is-
not going to happen. But okay, yeah.
Okay, but listen.
Let's delve into the mind of a liberal.
I don't even know how
Yeah,
how liberal I can
that's
call this
even
person.
tough to like. I get you. I agree.
This
I know
is
where
a-
you're going,
yeah.
but even that is a stretch for a like. That's a stretch.
It fits it fits the liberal mindset of like
Bring
West
everybody
Wing
together.
pornography.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when
This is a
when
win-
Jed Bartlett
yeah.
appointed the Republican judge and the Democrat judge. It's,
Jeff, he's one of the good ones. All right, he's one of the good ones.
This is like a winning from the center strategy, right?
aren't
Yeah,
they all?
that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. that's-
So the first paragraph, I'll just read a couple paragraphs after each one. I'll let you guys just go
let me
crazy.
get a vomit bucket ready.
Okay, go crazy. Biden should capitalize on his status as one of America's most popular politicians, skip the risk and potential indignities of running and losing in what will be a vicious and mullish leftward lurching primary, and slingshot straight into the general election debate stage on a third-party ticket.
What do they call the third party, Mason?
Okay, I'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's
You and I
Biden may
do
not Biden quote unquote back. Biden may not know it, but he is already well positioned to win a three-way election outright. So it's the center basically co-opting the progressive plan of a third party.
So they're thinking.
How fucking delusional.
The thinking is that the Democrats are going to break left, and the
Yeah.
Republicans are going to, of course,
Are
run
gonna
Trump,
break- exactly.
and then Biden will be. The,
Well, they think that some Democrats are breaking
Yeah.
left,
Yes.
and they'll just like
Leave
reach
all
that
the
arm
rest
out
of
and
them. Yeah.
scoop in center to right Democrats. The
Every
delusional
Republican.
part is thinking they're pulling anyone from Trump to vote for Romney.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, at this point,
That
I
is
think
insane.
that would be a little insane. I mean, I can't really see the Republican Party ever trying anything again that doesn't resemble right-wing populism.
Well, I feel like. It's
Like, do you
gonna
think they're going to calm it down and go for?
Yeah, I think you have a possibility of a Kasich or a Flake.
They're not going to go from Trump to
Especially
Kasich.
if there's like an impeachment thing, it'll change the face of the party. It'll be a more centrist. We got our shit together. Like that's
let
the
me-
only thing I can see.
I'm calling time. What?
What do you mean?
An impeachment thing?
I'm saying if you
I don't
have-
want. Let's not go down the impeachment thing.
Oh no!
What?
No, go ahead.
If you have the president and the vice president who are probably like over the past week implicated in like federal crimes. If there's already talk about, like Flake has said, if no one else runs a good primary against him, I will run. So Flake's already said he will run a primary against him. Like I have a feeling that the GOP will try to distance themselves from what like the next year holds for all the stuff that's probably going to come up about the president.
Well,
whether or not he gets impeached or not, I don't see him running again.
Well, two things. One, I haven't checked after this last week where a lot of revelations have happened. But one, Trump has astronomically high polling in the Republicans. Like right now, he has something like a 30% approval ratings in the ballpark. It goes up and down a few numbers every day overall. But he's also in the ballpark of 85% approval by Republicans. So there's no real such thing as never Trump Republican.
Well, I'm not saying there's a never Trump Republican, but I'm saying that if he gets implicated in crimes and can't run again, then they're going to have to put somebody up. He's definitely going to face primary like Republicans as a sitting president, which is kind of unheard of, right?
So you're saying that if he's implicated in crimes, he can't run again?
I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying he's going to face a primary battle against moderate Republicans. I don't think he will run again. I don't think he will. No.
Well,
he can. I don't think he will.
There's kind of two ways to look at this article. And the first being, what is the actual feasibility of this? Like, what is the... Like, all things being whatever. It's like, if this ticket actually was birthed in where... Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, what is the actual feasibility of
this?
This
is difficult,
campaign?
guys. Okay, yeah, this is difficult.
The second conversation is, I mean, we all know that that's never going to happen in a million years. Yeah. What kind of delusion?
That's exactly the point. That's exactly
what
the point.
kind of delusion are these people operating under?
That's exactly the point.
It's
a Hail Mary. Hail Mary. I mean, I don't see it.
Not to think that like, oh, this is a possibility, but like to even want this.
Well, and like even if you indulged it, like how would anything be a unified platform or get anything done? Like it in reality is too with the way that the Senate is running these days. The vice president is a kind of a large position. It's a tiebreaker pretty much every time we have a fucking vote now. So like that's kind of a big fucking deal.
I mean this article doesn't have any substantive
guys,
there's nothing to this.
I think in this one sandwich I can get both cat shit and dog shit in this sandwich. What do you think?
People like cats. People like dogs. I don't know. It's a pretty good idea.
Nothing of substance in the article, but let me continue.
No, please. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's just it's good. Back to the article. He appeals to the kind of working class voters Democrats have been bleeding to Republicans over the years.
This is Biden?
Yes.
Okay.
Most important,
working
he
class.
Can make a good
Remind me of the
president.
jobs he's had.
He could make a good president. And not because he has a deep mix of domestic and foreign policy experience, he also has the character for the job. His eulogy at the McCain funeral was not just a riveting and poignant tribute to his good friend, but a testament to Biden's own genuine grace and good humor.
The fact that he was friends with McCain should eliminate him from the fucking run. Oh.
I'm friends with many war criminals. Do you not like me?
Does he have any living kids, Biden?
Ooh, I don't know.
Ouch.
Probably.
Hope they die.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
Continue.
I'm not done. I'm gonna. The third one's small.
Oh, that got me.
Third one's small. Just get to the third one before I have three more. This is the third one.
No, as much as you want.
This is gold.
Now here's what Biden should do next. Pick a Republican running mate in this new terminology they're using. Okay, they're calling it a trans party. They're co-opting. They're calling it a trans party. Political effort.
God!
I apologize to all my trans brothers and sisters. This is disgusting misuse.
This is rough. This is rough.
Who better represent the community than
Shameless.
Mitt Romney?
Can we stop real fast? Tell me the name of this author, because while you read this, I have
Okay.
to Google
Yeah.
her.
Juliana. So Julleana, I believe.
J-U-L.
Glover. It's not a typical spelling for
And what article? This is
Politico. You should see that it's on the headline. It's got Biden on the front page of the article with the
It's
headline.
got flamed. It's
Biden
been
should
flamed
run on a
by-
unity
Yeah,
ticket.
all right. Continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. Fourth paragraph. A third-party presidency would be genuinely disruptive. Today's
For real.
today's ironclad party
know, that's
discipline could well break down, and moderates on both sides could form a powerful decision bloc willing to work with the new president. The policies passed into law may not be ideal for either Democrats or Republicans, but that's precisely the point. The major agenda items that must be addressed for America's long-term fiscal health require each party to make sacrifices.
AKA, I'm a Republican.
It's the civility argument of,
It's Republicans like, you want to.
I already got my
You know you want to. Just
this
hang
is where
out
they
with
really
us.
just
So
bludgeon
this
you.
puts
at the very end. Here.
Biden at the top of the ticket, right?
That's what it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't give any credence to this. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she's.
I know who
right.
she is.
How old's
Do you-
Biden again?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a Republican strategist.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So this
There
just
you go.
shows how small that divide is. That she chose Biden as the top of the ticket,
Right.
and that's okay with her.
Right.
That's how fucking closely aligned the ethos of Biden is with the Republican Party. That's okay.
Yeah.
Back to the
Plus
article.
he's old as
Last
fuck.
paragraph.
Yeah, he's gonna die, and then we have a
He's
Republican
old
in
as
there.
fuck.
I know. It sounds crazy.
'Cause it is.
But the narrow path to electing Biden as the first president outside of the two-party system in 168 years is more navigable than most think. Just look at the numbers. A historic high of 61% of Americans would like to see a third-party bid, according to Gallup. Trump's approval rating,
Third party from the left.
Or
It's a
just-
third party from the left. That's what it's talking about.
of course it is, yeah.
He's not a third party. He's literally like almost an incumbent vice president for the Democratic Party. He can't. He's not gonna be like fuck Democrats. He's gonna be like I'm a Democrat with Republican. Like it's
Yeah.
not a third party. It's like we could still keep this two parties if we pretend it's a third party.
They are
That's
they
the
are
brilliance.
they are really, I mean, I don't know if she knows it willingly, but she's basically selling you like the horseshoe theory.
Maybe it's
Through this
just
article, where she's expecting you to believe that the right has gone crazy right, but that everybody on the left is crazy irrational. And a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they would have said a third party has no chance. And now they're using the same statistics that progressives have used the last 2 years to argue for a third party.
it's just Biden making a long, uncomfortable hug with some Republicans.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, if there's anybody that doesn't think Biden is going to get Me Too'd, you have another thing coming.
Like 30 seconds in, right?
You know how touchy-feely Biden has been throughout his life?
That's just how Uncle Joe is,
Uncle Joey's like he's just a kook, dude. Like he's funny
I'm
to
physical.
watch.
I'm physical with my affection.
I can't lie.
I hope he runs
Really?
as a Democrat, not as this weird third party system. Yeah.
So it just makes it look so that you have like the most stereotypical stalwart Democrat.
Well, it
running.
allows everybody to say, "Oh yeah, we gave third party a chance. It worked or didn't work." And
No.
then we'll
I
not talk
don't
about
want him
it
to run
again.
as a third party. I want him to run as a
Trans party.
I want him to run as capital D Democrat, because since he's been flirting with the idea, like I don't know if you saw, but this week he called himself
the most electable candidate or
the
whatever.
most
Qualified.
qualified
Qualified,
candidate, which
yeah.
was the
Big
biggest
Q.
lie they ever said about Clinton. Like, thank God no one's saying that anymore. Like, Hillary is the most qualified candidate. It's like,
He also said though too that he's a walking, like he called himself. This is to speak to my former adulation, that like he's a walking gaff. Like yeah, I'm a walking gaff, but at least it means I'm being honest.
When she was saying she was the most qualified candidate, like, what was the context in that?
they never gave back up.
Because of my
stated it.
technically,
she was a senator.
the most
and a
qualified
Secretary of
candidate
State.
probably would have been George H.W. Bush. He had held the position before.
That's exactly my George H.W.
Right?
Bush is probably the most qualified president in the history of presidents, right? Like CIA, vice president, like he's there. Like,
But I'm just saying, how can semantically, like, how can she say that?
Because
when there's literally someone that's alive that's held a position that is still
Was alive.
eligible to run.
because he wasn't
At the time.
running, right? Like,
no, they said of all time.
yeah. I mean, people were trying to say that as a senator and as a secretary of state that she had a background.
And as her first
And first lady, for sure.
But,
Real tough stuff there.
Yeah, she's had the Clinton dick. Cause,
I mean, didn't Roosevelt win like 4 elections? That fourth time around, wasn't he maybe the most qualified
Yeah, probably.
candidate?
yeah. And if he didn't he die in office? If he didn't die, they may have done it again.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah, back to
Yeah,
this.
I mean that's all.
Why I want Biden to run is because since Biden's been flirting with the idea of running, the American media narrative has dropped that maybe Bernie Sanders is too old. They were all about that.
I still am. But
Biden threw his.
It's probably true.
Biden tickled like, hey, I might be interested. And they're like, oh shit, we can't talk about old.
Yeah.
So now Bernie Sanders
Right.
is a racist
Yeah.
and
Probably true.
an anti-Semite racist.
That too.
he's not racist.
Self-loathing.
He just caters to racists. That's all.
Self-loathing.
And
He just wants to make sure that racists still vote
we don't
for
talk
him.
about too old. So I like him in the race for that reason because I think Sanders should be our next candidate.
I still think it's going to be Kamala Harris because they just
Sorry.
don't hurt yourself. But they just gave up more Republican seats on the Senate Judiciary Committee to keep her on. They cut a Senate Democrats cut a deal with Republicans, added a bunch of chairs for Republicans so that Kamala Harris wouldn't be kicked off the Judiciary.
Oh no, wait, I'm confused. You're saying she's going to run or she's going to win?
I think that the Democrats are going to make her run because of
Make her run. She doesn't
or not
want to.
make her. She wants to run. The Democrats are going to go throw their weight behind her because of what they just did to keep her on the Senate Judiciary Committee. You have another year of coming up where we're going to have like questions where she can sit there and soapbox for 10 minutes and like rip into whoever gets called in front of the the panel, Comey, fucking whatever douchebag that's in the like administration right now. And that's their soapbox through those impeachment hearings on the Senate side. So I think that the Democrats
the Democratic Party are
are going to push Kamala Harris based on what they did this last week.
I mean, traditionally, aren't they pushing whoever they choose to do the response to the State of the Union?
Yeah, but there's a State of the Union every year. So like the first one was Kennedy, but that was also like 3 years out. So it's like and there's a fuck ton of Democrats. Like you have Joe Sewell, what's the
Booker,
Sherrod Brown
Bloomberg.
or whatever. Oh, fucking Bloomberg.
Warren.
Yeah, Warren's did something about.
Yeah, you're talking about Tom
exploratory
Seaver
committee.
or Tom. What's his name?
Beto.
Oh yeah, Beto.
Beto.
waiting.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's talk about Beto. Let's just rough
Beto
on Beto a little bit, and then we'll just call it a day.
He's a pedophile.
I was gonna say, how long is it until you gotta like rep your fucking your online talk? Allegedly.
Oh God.
He's scary. Though.
Not even allegedly.
Not Beto in particular, but like, I mean, not Beto at all because he's not a libertarian. But anytime I hear the word libertarian now, my brain just converts it to pedophile
Directly.
Directly, because all that means
Don't
is
enforce your laws on me.
it's age of consent is not a viable law.
man.
Anyway, Beto, he's a turd. Like I don't know what to even say about him. He skateboards.
It's Obama. 2.0.
It's. I can only imagine how easy it must be to look cool next to Ted Cruz.
Yeah, for sure, right? But he's still lost.
Like I feel like
still lost. Though.
I should
told
find
you.
someone
I told
like
you.
Ted Cruz and just pay them
Not in Texas.
to walk
man.
around next to me
No.
and just like bump my like cool quotient up a good 75%.
Mason posted that GIF of him dribbling on the Facebook.
God, dude.
And I was online at the time, and the notification came up before it actually posted to the Facebook. And man, they pulled it up, and I could just see a thumbnail. And I was like, man, is he making fun of me like when I was like 13 or something? Nope, it was Ted Cruz. It was Ted Cruz the whole time.
And then you were happy.
I was super stoked. We're 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 stoked.
next week and find out if Beto's a pedo. We'll also do a deep dive on all the 2020 candidates. And Mason will show how the Bible acts as an instruction guide for capitalism in America. And a whole bunch of other things you didn't know you needed to hear about. We'll catch you on the next one.